Well, hello, folks, and we welcome you once again to the Joel Saint Show. We've been off for a little while with some technological challenges, shall we say, but we're back, and we have addressed these. I want to show you a video clip, a brief video clip, which will demonstrate how bad things have gotten, because what we do now is when someone does something wrong, we hold everyone else responsible. And the last people we apparently hold responsible nowadays are the people that have done the wrong. So here we go, a 2.5-minute clip of basically a little riot at a mall. Here we are.
A post on TikTok leads to chaos at the Menlo Park Mall. The post called for a so-called meetup there. 300 kids showed up. In Edison, police say it ended with a melee at the mall.
So we've got ourselves a melee at the mall. Who's responsible, I wonder? The people who actually were involved in the melee or everybody else? Well, it's not going to take us long to find out.
News 12 New Jersey's Chris Keating has more from Edison, where the mayor is demanding changes by mall ownership. Chris?
We have a hint already, don't we? The mayor is saying that the mall ownership needs to make some changes around here.
Eric, good evening. The mayor of Edison, Sam Joshi, is telling Simon Property Group, which owns this mall, to immediately hire more security personnel, as well as please add more surveillance cameras to these buildings.
Let's put a stop to the rioting. More mall cops, more cameras. More cameras, that'll scare them. This is already on all kinds of cameras. These kids don't go anywhere without taking videos of everything. And you can be sure they had their cameras out, taking all kinds of pictures of the mini-riot here. But the mayor knows that what we need around here is more cameras. Does he really think that's going to stop much of anything?
At the same time, the mayor is actually lashing out at the parents of those 300 teenagers who swarmed to this mall, noting a lot of those teens were driven here by adults.
They got driven here by adults. Well, how else are we getting there? Driving themselves? Hitchhiking?
What are the parents doing? Aren't the parents aware that they're traveling 45 minutes to cause a disturbance?
No, Mr. Mayor. They're probably not aware. What's the thing happened that night, right? 300 kids, right, in their homes, whatever, sitting around the dinner table, mom, dad, whatever, or mom or dad, if they have either one of those nowadays in our disastrous state of marriage and the family. And the conversation goes something like this. Oh, thanks a lot, Mom, for the green bean casserole was pretty good. And the banana pudding for dessert, enjoyed that. Can one of you take me to the mall tonight? Why? Some of our there's a riot scheduled for 7:30. I'd like to be there at 7 because we have to talk about it first and see where we want to riot and so forth. But yeah, 7:30. I think we can riot for about a half an hour. I think the cops will get there at maybe 8. Kind of process everybody, settle things down. By 8:30, I should be ready to come back. Maybe you can, I don't know, it's 45 minutes. Maybe you can just wait and, watch the riot. Have you ever heard anything so absurd? Do they not know that they're driving their kids 45 minutes to cause a disturbance? If these parents know that and they did that anyway, well, then we got bigger problems than what we even thought we did. But this mayor saying such a thing, I mean, how did this guy get elected? Some people want to say that democracy solves everything. If you get a guy like this in office, democracy definitely is not solving much of anything. That I can tell you for sure.
Within Edison Township?
Mayor Sam Joshi is calling out parents for the mayhem caused at the Menlo Park Mall. Cell phone video shows teens running through the mall.
Told you there was all kinds of cameras.
Fighting with each other and police officers making arrests. Police say in all, 6 teens were arrested for disorderly persons as well as failure to disperse. One is charged with assaulting a police officer.
Okay, let me get this straight. 300 teens, 6 arrests. But the answer is more mall cops and more cameras. And parents, stop driving your kids 45 minutes just to riot. Like I said, we still haven't held the teens responsible yet. Oh, yes, 6 of them were arrested. Are you kidding me? They were out by the evening. They were released back in the custody of their parents, if they even had to put up any bail at all, which I doubt they did.
Edison Chief Tom Bryan says 9 other police departments responded to the mall to help, and some of the teens weren't just fighting with each other.
Our officers.
Wait a second. We had called in 9 other police departments. 9 other police departments. And you're going to add a few mall cops and cameras and put a stop to this?
Arrived and they started fighting with our officers.
The mayor is also demanding that
they're going to fight with the police officers, but not the mall cops.
Simon Property Group add license plate readers to mall property to track cars and consider restrictions on teens.
Oh, here we go. This didn't take long. Nope. We're now going to start tracing license plates at the mall. Yes, our liberty's shrinking, of course. And,
for instance, at the Westfield Mall, teens under 18 have to be with an adult after 5. At the American Dream Mall, anyone under 16 has to be with an adult from 3 until close.
After 12 years, or however many, maybe 10 years if they're sophomore, whatever, of government schooling, these teens, which have spent the majority of their growing up years and their best learning time during the day, after all these years of the government schools, they are not allowed to be without an adult after 3 o'clock at one mall and after 5 o'clock at a different mall. Man, maybe we found the problem here. Maybe your schools are making things far worse. Irresponsible, totally irresponsible after all that education. Can't imagine how it happened.
Edison police are also looking into possible charges for the TikToker who posted the original meetup at the mall.
Let's arrest the TikToker. We had 300 people rioting and melee them all fighting with each other. Some of them fighting with cops. We've made 6 arrests. I know who's responsible. The TikToker.
I want to make sure that it continues to be a safe, welcoming atmosphere for everyone.
So far, Simon Property Group has not returned our calls for a comment concerning the situation or responded to the request being made by the mayor. Edison police say there was no property damage reported from inside of the mall.
I sure can't blame them for not responding to the mayor. That I guarantee I cannot do. That mayor is definitely demonstrating that he knows very little about even basic human behavior, shall we say. What a complete mess. Well, I want to talk about this a little bit more from the actual Bible, because what we do here at the Joel Saint Show and Future of Christendom, what we do here is we want to show how problems that we have in our nation and our culture are a result of abandoning the law word of God. This is what has messed with us here. For example, let's take Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 18, where we read, where there is no, let me pull it up here. Let's transition. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Where there is no vision, that word, that Hebrew word there is a word that means restraint. In other words, where there's no restraint, there is perishing going on. People need to restrain themselves. And all that mayor can do is talk about his external restraints. Let's stop the parents from driving the cars. Let's put more mall cops out there. Let's start tracing license plates. Let's start putting curfews on It's all external controls. But what the Bible talks about is internal controls. Even Adam and Eve, there in the garden, they were to control themselves based on the Word of God and not eat that fruit. And they didn't control themselves internally, so God threw them out and controlled them externally with an angel with a sword that wasn't going to let them come into the garden any longer. Now, I want to show this word here, is where there's no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Where there is no vision, where there is no restraint. Here is Exodus chapter 32 and verse 25. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, that's the same word that we saw there in Proverbs, where there's no vision, the people perish. There's no restraint going on here. Moses saw that the people were naked. They were unrestrained. There was no restraining them. For Aaron had made them naked, unrestrained, unto the shame among their enemies. This is an amazing verse here because did they really have any enemies? I mean, they just recently escaped from Egypt, crossed the Red Sea. They're out in the desert pretty much on their own. What do you mean naked among their enemies, unrestrained among their enemies? What are we talking about here? Well, know this, that those who want to live in freedom under Christ will always have enemies, because there are people who want to enslave other people. And once you take away restraint, once you take away internal restraints, now you are totally subject to external suggestions. And what we see here with these people, we see that they were totally susceptible to even the craziest, the most foolish suggestions. And this is Moses coming down. Moses is coming down from receiving the 10 Commandments here in Exodus 32. And it came to pass, as soon as he came nigh into the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot. And he cast the tables out of his hands and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made and burned it in the fire, and ground it to powder, and strawed upon it, or strewn it on the water, and made the children of Israel drink of it. And Moses said unto Aaron, what did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? And Aaron said, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, make us gods which shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we don't know what's become of him. Who knows? I got an idea. Let's head back to Egypt, where we were slaves for all those years. And I, Aaron speaking, said unto them, whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. Yeah, the people had cast off restraint, and now they were exposed before their enemies, and now the entire nation is interested in one of the dumbest suggestions ever. They came out of Egypt, they had gold, right? And they so easily gave up their valuable gold to make a golden calf. What were they thinking? But they were open to suggestion. They were suggestible at the time. Any crazy idea. And this is the idea of being unrestrained, if you will. And that's what growing up is all about, is it not? Growing up to be an adult, you restrain yourself as an adult. It begins as a young child, or a child throws a fit, and you have to not reward a child for throwing a fit. Growing up is like not throwing fits any longer here. And so what we've got going on here in Exodus chapter 32 is an unrestrained people, and a people that is close to perishing, as Proverbs tells us. Well, this is the lesson that we're getting out of this for sure. And there is one other verse that I want to bring you to, though, and that's in Deuteronomy chapter 5. I want to talk about the 10 Commandments here. And let's see what Moses has to say about this here in Deuteronomy chapter 5. Let's see. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. Did you know that the 10 Commandments begin with a brief statement on bondage? And prior to the 10 Commandments, God says, I'm going to bring you into freedom and out of bondage. An awful lot of Christians are the ones saying, oh, those 10 Commandments, they're the ones that bring us into bondage. No, they're the ones that bring us out of bondage, because here's the thing. If you are not self-restrained, if you do not obey the word of God, if you're interested in whatever gods your little fancy puts together, again, you'll be subject to suggestions, and you will go after a person who makes promises to you about how wonderful he's going to be to you. And the next thing you know, you're under the heel of a tyrant, because you yourself have cast off restraint and you're perishing. You know what's going to keep you away from tyranny and oppression? The law word of God. You know what's going to keep you away from slavery? God's law word. That's why he starts out again. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. You know why? Because all the other gods will bring you into bondage. Oh, it won't start out that way. You know, the suggestibility of those teens. I was thinking about that. You know, were they calling up their buds? Did any teenager stop to think like, hey, I got a call. Yeah, we're gonna have a meetup, and I don't know, we're gonna riot. I don't know whether any teen said like, no. I don't think that's really a good plan. Or is this what our government schools have produced? I don't know. Totally suggestible and easily led next generation. Tell you what, if you're chasing around every single new cool idea, you will not be free for long. Well, I hope that this was helpful to you today. Thanks for being with us once again on the Joel Saint Show. Again, wonderful to have you along. Don't forget to go to futureofchristendom.org to find out upcoming events. We've got an event upcoming in Schuylkill County on the 21st of June. And then the second weekend in October, we've got our conference as well coming up, our annual conference. Jeff Durbin is coming to speak to us that time. Hope to see you there. And remember, the law of the Lord is perfect. Something we cannot say about the law of man. Thank you.